June was another month where I'm pleased to say I was lucky enough to play a lot of fun things. I continued my big journey into the world of Xenoblade, was given codes for 2 other fun games to explore, and revisited an experience or 2 that were favorites of mine in recent enough times. So with lots to talk about and a month with a lot of games to love, here are the JRPGs I played in June. I really try not to give games JRPG of the month twice in a row, but my time with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition in June saw it win me over again and again with all its twists and turns, and once I'd finished it, especially after the Future Connected story, I found a hole in my gaming time that told me that I really loved playing that game. There's so much to love about it. Its new content felt like everything I loved from the core story, but with more of the lighthearted moments I loved from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the payoff from all the little things hidden in the story made it hit hard exactly when it should, and the amount of things I could keep doing in it has me feeling like I got exactly what I wanted out of the game, and I'm sure I'm going to be crossing my fingers for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for a while, as I love exploring these dense, content-filled worlds. As for my future with this definitive edition, I would really love to go back and complete more quests. At first I wanted to focus on that with Future Connected, as I preferred its quests a little more, possibly because they involved Nopon, but then I got to trying the post-game of the main story for my review and realized I wanted to do the quest for that one too, and since it will add to my overall knowledge of the Xenoblade world, I'm sure it would help me get more out of Future Connected as well. Both sets of quests are also a little overwhelming since there are more games on the horizon, so I'm interested to see if it'll end up pulling me in spite of that, but since I've been thinking about it since I finished, there's definitely a possibility. For now, I'm going to be working on my review to talk about my thoughts in more detail, and waiting to hear if this series will have any more games announced for it, as whether it's a re-release of other Xenoblade games like X or a new third entry, I'd pretty happily try whatever Monolith Soft puts out next. Hopefully we hear more soon, but in any case, I'm really impressed by what I've seen from this series so far. If Xenoblade hadn't won me over so much in its lost hours, Trails of Cold Steel 3 on Switch probably would have been my game of the month for June and my go-to Switch game for my free time. But despite being a close second, it is still very much on my Switch, as like I said in my impressions video, this huge game is such a good fit on the console that makes me feel much more willing to jump further into it than I was with its PS4 version. It's the first time in a while where, since I had already reviewed the game itself on PS4, I picked up the game again but on Switch and felt like I was able to do whatever, which turned into me completing a lot of the optional stuff like quests that I had missed that felt so good to do, especially when it showed me moments with characters that made the world feel even deeper, and I was able to appreciate other things like the map more, taking my time to go and explore every corner, and I'm excited to throw it in my bag again sometime and do this even more. I have a feeling in July I'll be tossing up between this and Xenoblade in my free time, although talking about my Trails experience right now is kinda getting me keen to get back into it, especially since googling about some of the quests recently showed that I missed one before leaving Thor's in the first chapter, and that simply won't do. Obviously, I hope to play this one more soon, and I hope to hear that you guys are playing it too, as I think this is definitely another great and big world that has found itself a nice new home on the Switch, and if this does well, and with a little bit of luck, hopefully this means good things for those series on Switch in the future. While my time with Ys Memories of Celceta feels far away now, it was a game I had a fun adventure with at the beginning of last month, and is something I'm particularly glad to have played, as now we know Ys 9 is coming to the West. I'm glad it refreshed my hype for the series. Exploring another Ys world full of mystery and adventure was a lot of fun, with all the little puzzles and exploration tools hidden within it that kept me always feeling like it had something new to show me. And since I hadn't played an Ys game for a while, it was fantastic returning to this world and the kind of slowly unfolding mystery that these games seem to be good at portraying. I'm happy to say that this was another adventure I had a lot of fun with in June, and while unlike the last 2 games I mentioned, I don't think I'm likely to return to this one since it's on my PS4 and not on my Switch, but it was still a fun experience that I think is well worth playing, so give it a try if you want more Ys or Falcom experiences, and I look forward to hearing more about what's next for the series in more detail soon, whether that be when I catch up on everything that happened on the New Game Plus stream, or as more information comes out. Recently, I've been taking a little more time to try and take care of myself and stop working on stuff after 10 p.m. at the latest when I'm home to be in a better headspace, and this has resulted in me having a little bit more free time that one night I decided to give to one of my favorite experiences from earlier this year. That game was Rune Factory 4 Special, an experience I still think about a lot thanks to how wholesome and nice that world is. So when I picked it up and checked on my farm, I found it very relaxing to be in that world again, so relaxing in fact that instead of playing for an hour, I ended up playing until 12:30 when I reluctantly dragged myself to bed because I knew if I kept playing, I may not stop. What helped drag me so into the game, other than all the things I've already mentioned, was that the third arc content started playing out, and the battles in that one were harder in a satisfying way, and I was about to jump into the rabbit hole of going back to town and finding and equipping long-range equipment and spells when I decided to call it a night. I was really impressed with how satisfying it all ended up being though. I finished the second arc around level 100 from memory, and the fact that the game is still giving plenty of challenge is a really great thing, so I do hope I can get back to that part sometime, finish the final story arc I have to finish, and then possibly get more into its newlyweds content. Until then though, it's still definitely a game I'm happy to call one of my favorites from this year so far, and I'd love to hear if any of you guys are still playing it in the comments below. Since I tend to jump in and out of smartphone games these days with no real plan or direction, I decided to compile my smartphone JRPG experiences of the month into one part because, as you may have seen last video, I have so many on my phone that it's just easier to talk about everything all together for now, at least until I get into one of them properly, which may or may not ever happen. Thanks to your suggestions last video, I ended up downloading Epic 7 onto my phone, as that was one I definitely wanted to try and I'm glad you guys reminded me of. I also ended up removing King's Raid from my phone, as despite the fact I love its art every time I see it in Famitsu, the English in it before I even started the actual game portion didn't give me much confidence in it, and when I looked up more videos with its gameplay and story, I came to the conclusion that since I have so many games on my phone, I'm willing to let this one go, as it doesn't seem to be the quality level of other smartphone games that I've played. Keeping quality in mind, I did go back to Fire Emblem Heroes, which I've always thought was great, and was happy to see that it still plays exactly as good as I remembered. I was reminded of it after seeing a thumbnail with the Martha and Mia unit that just so happened to be from one of the summer events, and by some crazy luck that could be the game just trying to suck me in again, I ended up getting that unit as one of my first summons, so I'm excited to use that properly once I get through all the beginning tutorial sections of the game again, as I'm starting from scratch, and I hope to eventually get some Three Houses units, but no luck with that so far. I had some more gacha luck elsewhere though with the Japanese version of SINoALICE, which I was drawn into for similar reasons, as whenever I see its character designs pop up in YouTube thumbnails, I find them gorgeous. I did the gacha you do at the start of the game, as I'm pretty much restarting everything at this point, and that got me a beautiful sorcery job for the Little Mermaid that I felt very lucky to get, although with its pretty artwork, I feel like I would have been happy getting almost anything in SINoALICE. As for what I'm going to continue with, since I'm not really into either of these games properly yet, I'm not sure, although I'll probably end up trying SINoALICE more but in English, especially with the upcoming Nier collaborations that I definitely want to do, as that's a big part of the reason I've been interested in that game for so long. Either way, it's been fun exploring this side of gaming again, and while I'm not hugely dedicated to it like my console gaming, I am interested to see what will keep my attention in the coming months. Speaking of July, aside from finally being able to try SINoALICE in English, there are some cool JRPGs coming out this month, and honestly, I'd play them all if I had the time. There's NIS's roguelike Void Terrarium with its sentimental feeling and adorable robot that warms my heart, coming out on the 14th. A little before that, on the 10th, Sword Art Online Alicization Lycoris will be out. Its trailers always make it look intriguing, and Gust's take on the Fairy Tail series will be out on the 30th, and since it's by Gust, I'm excited to see how they'll make this world come to life, especially since it'll be my first introduction to Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail is my plan for the end of the month. As for the beginning, in my toss-up between Void Terrarium and Sword Art, Void Terrarium wins for me this time just because I've been interested in it longer and really enjoyed the Japanese demo, but I think it's one of those months where everything looks good and you can't lose, so I'm curious to see what you guys will choose to play from these releases too. Until then though, I've just downloaded SINoALICE and have been playing with it a little, and in between I hope to return to either Xenoblade or Cold Steel 3 in my free time, along with hopefully making videos about what's been going on in the world of JRPGs recently. So until my next video, I hope you guys are enjoying what you're playing now, and I look forward to hearing about your JRPG plans in the comments. Thank Thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below what you played in June and what you plan to play this month. You can like and share this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for more JRPG content like this, and ring that bell to get notifications on whenever I post so you don't miss a thing. You can check out more videos here, and you can find me on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at JRPG Jungle. Links to those will be in the description below, and until next time, thank you, bye!